Do you want to know how I really even started working out for real? I'm gonna tell you right now. I did 40 push-ups. That's all I did. That's how I started this entire 5 year long journey. And I'm not the biggest guy, but I sure as hell am not the smallest guy around either. But that's how you started your journey. I did 40 push-ups, 14, 13. And I saw this photo that my mom took of me. I saw this photo. And in this photo, I'm standing right here, right? And I'm staring at my reflection in the mirror. And in the reflection, I saw a 180-pound kid who somehow was only 5'6". I was 5'6" and 180 pounds. It's just hard to believe even for myself now. But that was a point in my life. And I do have that photo. I'll probably put it up somewhere on the screen right now. But that's where it all started. I hated the way that I looked. And I remember seeing videos of people just working out constantly and seeing how people liked being around them for some reason way more than they would around the fat kid me. I didn't understand that part. I never have, never will. But I soon realized that was a real part of life at the same time too. After this whole journey first started with the me being overweight at that time, next thing that I did was I just lost a ton of weight really fucking fast. And I'm gonna be honest, I count this as puberty's work, not mine, because I went from 5'6", went from 5'6" all the way to 5'8", and I went from 180 pounds, 180, all the way down. You won't probably believe this. In 4 months, I dropped down 36 pounds. In 4 months, I dropped down 36 fucking pounds. I could not tell you how I did it. It was very unhealthy. I had a lot of doctor appointments after this because I was very, very skinny and very, very scrawny. At the time, I had an eating disorder. It was never documented or nothing for real, but that's what my struggle was at the time. However, something I did notice when I slimmed down from being this sack of fucking potatoes all the way to going to me being actually very skinny, which was a very new thing for me at the time. I was always a pretty overweight kid. I worked out, but I was still pretty fat. But going from this jumbo jumbo to this deflated pale being, I realized something. People liked him more. People wanted to hang around this guy a whole lot more for some reason. This guy just attracted more friendships. I had no clue why. And then I realized for a moment, it's because you worked out. It's because you look a little tiny bit better. And the worst part was those same people who used to just laugh at me. These guys used to just point and laugh at me. They now wanted to be my friends and sit down with me and talk to me and do all this other shit that they just never would have even last year. I still can't fathom why. But I never hated them for it. I just thought it was weird. Another big point in the gym journey for me, though, was my first ex. And this is where the title of the video comes in, y'all, in case you were wondering when I was going to bring it up. My first ex was 5'8", 145 or 144 from when I remember telling you, all right? I was 5'8", 145, 144. The way I had met this woman was in school, right? I met her in school, and we're reading. I met this girl in freshman year, right? I'm not going to say her name out loud for privacy reasons, obviously. But met this girl in freshman year who did cheat on me. I thought, hey man, you went from being fat and now you're skinny, dude. You're skinny. No one's gonna she's not gonna cheat on you. You're the perfect dude now. There's nothing else for you to improve. There's nothing else for me to do. I'm already here. Why would I need to, I don't know, make money? Why would I need to fucking do anything in life if I'm already here and I have a girlfriend? That was a terrible way of thinking. I'm gonna tell you something right now. She cheated on me. Oh yeah, it was the same dude that she told me not to worry about to cheated on me. I remember that night. I went to my room and I just cried, 14 hours straight. I just in my room alone in bed, in the floor, wherever it was in my room, 14 hours straight. My vision was blurry. I couldn't think. I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to drink water. But at the same time, there was something in the back of my head telling me, is this really all that I'm capable of? Is this all that I'm gonna do? Is all I'm gonna do is just cry sad tears all day and all night, just wasting my time fucking crying on my bed? And then I realized something. No, no. You can't do this, Luis. Because at the same time that I was crying, I also realized no one's gonna come and help me. No one. My mom's not gonna comfort me over a breakup. No one's gonna really ask me about this breakup. No one gives a fuck. I got on the floor. I got on the floor. And I did 40 push-ups. That's what I did. Those 40 push-ups taught me something that day. I remember it hurting me like badly the first day I had ever done it. And remember, I'm still a scrawny 144-pound kid right here. That was terrible. It was a moment where it was just me, myself, and I had to bring myself out of it. Another time was sophomore year. We're going to move on from freshman year to sophomore year now. Sophomore year, what happened was I met this other woman, obviously. Now I'm actually a little bit bigger. After the breakup, I ended up turning into slightly more buffer, slightly. So we went from 144 to 165 pounds this year. Met a chick, right? She was cool, loved her, right? Whatever. We're out somewhere. I got told this, and then I go see this later. Same chick, right? Same chick. Boom, there's a chick, right? We're at a dance or something in bed with the ex, right? In bed with another ex. Now, from what I was told, nothing happened, but that's more than reason enough to want to move on. So what did I do that day? I was like, I can't do 40 push-ups. I've been working out this whole time. I ran 8 miles that fucking day. 8 long ass miles. I had never even ran more than a fucking round of track. I've never ran more than a little loop around a track before. 4 times to get a mile in. That was the most I had done. But that day, I realized something. I enjoyed the feeling of physical pain. I enjoyed the pain of muscles. I enjoyed the pain of working out. I enjoyed the pain of not being able to breathe while I was running. And I enjoyed this pain a whole lot more than I enjoyed the mental pain or the pain of having to think about these 2 women. It's weird to explain. The pain that these 2 managed to cause me was far greater in my own mind, in my own head, than anything that these 3 would have caused me. So that's why I kept working out. That's why I ran 8 miles that day. As I was running this mile, my lungs were on the verge of collapsing. My legs were literally wobbling from running uphill. My legs are literally shaking running uphill. My shirt was drenched in sweat. It was 90 degrees after the middle of summer. And I ran 8 miles that day. I learned, dude, this physical pain, I'm welcoming it rather than dispersing it, rather than ignoring it. This is pain that I must welcome for myself. Moving on from that, however, junior year. We're back to junior year now. I ended up growing a habit this year where every time I worked out, I would just self-hate. Hated the way I looked. I wasn't even that bad at the moment either. I want to say junior year, I was 5'9". I could have been anywhere from 160 to 180. I was bulking, cutting at this moment. I would tell myself some things. Kill yourself. You're a pussy. If you can't do this, what purpose do you have in life? If you can't accomplish something as simple as lifting a weight, what could you even accomplish in your own future? And it became this bad, toxic cycle of myself where I kept telling I hated myself. You're fat. You're ugly. You're worthless. And it's different coming from yourself this time. It's not coming from someone else. It came from me. It came from the dude looking in the mirror. The dude working out. He hated himself. He hated the way that he looked. But at the same time, this year taught me something. Of course, another girl. With this girl, there was no ex. There was no toxic breakup. I had failed. I had done some of my own issues, I won't not lie. And I had failed on this relationship. I realized, however, I had to do more. I failed to do more in this situation. And so I translated that into the gym. I failed. Here's what we're going to write down. I failed to do more. I failed to do more for her. I failed to work out more for myself as well. I failed to be more consistent. I was never consistent in the way that I worked out. And I realized this. I was never consistent. Never consistent. I failed at everything that I did in the gym. I was never truly focused, all the way focused on this task at hand. And in truth, for a while, it was still the same. Hating myself, not wanting to meet anyone, not wanting to talk to anyone new. And for a while, it was just me not understanding what I even truly wanted. I didn't even know what the fuck I wanted half the time. And if there's one thing I can say, though, is that I learned moving on to senior year of high school, I ended up really taking the gym pretty seriously. It's on my Instagram, on my public Instagram, my actual social one. If you look at it, I posted my entire workout journey on there, and I might post the transitions that I made on here too on screen in a little bit. But I got rid of that habit of self-loathe, of self-hate. And I realized something. Even though I was imperfect, I was chasing this perfection that I was never really going to reach. No one is perfect. You will never, and I mean never, reach perfection. I'm not ever going to do it. You're not ever going to do it. No one's ever going to do it. No one will ever be perfect. And in search for this perfection that I had invented in my own head, what is perfection? You cannot define perfection. In search for this perfection, I realized there's no perfection. No one is fucking perfect. That guy, that supermodel that you think has the greatest life in the world, he hates himself too. He hates himself too. And in this process of wanting to not look like a model, but this process of wanting to look my best for myself, I realize I'm not ever gonna look amazing. I'm not ever gonna look that good. I'm not ever gonna be perfect. And so this was the moment when something in my head turned, dude, you're working out for other people, not really for yourself. And the moment I made the correlation of working out for other people versus working out for myself and my own health, my own future, that's when things started to actually really change for me. Because it went from I hate Luis, and I hated Luis, right? Hated this fucking guy. He was 5'6", 180, sack of fucking potatoes, bro. That's literally what Luis was back then, sack of potatoes. To them being 5'8", 165, right? A little bit skinnier. To them being 5'9", 180. And then to right now, where I'm at is 5'9", 165 pounds. That's where we're at right now. And at the same time, those 40 push-ups, right, that I did, they had known so much more about me. And those fucking little dumbbell weights that I had in my room, that little 15-pound one, right? That little dumbass electrical strap, or the little rubber bands things. I'm talking about the rubber bands thing. The little stupid-ass rubber band thing. All those little things knew so much more about me. These three things, they knew me more than I even knew myself. Long story short, to end the video, hated the way I looked, hated the way I talked, hated the way I walked, hated the way I did everything, right? That hate that you have for yourself, this self-hate, can also turn into self-love, right? So that self-hate that I had for myself slowly but surely did transform into me bettering myself, slowly but surely did transform into me improving myself. At one point, I hated myself, and that had built me up to a really good point. But what ended up surpassing that hate was actually learning to be one with myself and accept it. And now I'm proud to say that I weigh 165 and I can bench 225. And I wouldn't have done it without realizing this. So remember, you cannot have both without having one and the other at some point. That's why I started working out. You don't have to fucking hate yourself to work out. You can do anything to work out. You can just start by saying, hey, I don't want to look fat. I don't want diabetes in the future. That's how you can start. But yeah, that's the story. That's the testimony. See ya.